tuce tempe trinle yarngoda belge drolor zambe ze parche pande lame shabla solvade Oma Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munishas Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om A Guru Vajra Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om A Guru Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Sanekar Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Sanekar Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Om Guru Vajradhara Sumati Munisha Uta Vardanya Shri Bhadra Varsa Manya Sarva Siddhi Hum Dhagi Jitsun Lama Tuje Che Nyamda Dala Tuje Sikso So Gebe Shesan Dala Tendo So Oyon Sunge Nawa Tsedo So Tseji Ningne Solwa Debe Tse Dechen Korlo Visu Lekshune Yila Sambe Dede Malupa Gemel Hunge Drubra Chingelo Soni Sodan Dikdun Shakpe Tse Dunge Namke Yingso Lekshune Lapchen Soni Yonso Zopadan Chera Nyetun Chanwara Chingelo Jancho Pargi Ninsen Tukun Tu Niu Peme Siutru Lekshun Jancho Drube Gegen Kunshishi Tungen de la Drubra Chingelo Dagelo Na Chola Chokpa Dan Chemin Samjurang Embash Chodan Tumbe Dedem Malupa Beme Lungi Drubra Chingelo Dorna Tingne Tsera Tamche Dan Techi Pardo Neka Tamche Tu Rese Kyamne Lama Keleme Tukje Chingi Dala Siksu Sol Gongyab Drewe Nyamda Dachala Jetsun Lame Tuje Rab Gongne Kudan Sungi Nawa Dralme Tu Nyamsu Nyongwe Kesan Topra Sho Kewa Kuntu Yanda Lama Dan Drame Chiki Pela Longche Chin Sadan Lamge Yunten Rabzon Dorje Changi Kopa Nyurtob Shoyo Pakyo Ke Kudan Dagi Alu Pakyo Ke Sundan Dagi Pakyo Ke Tugdan Dagi Tön Yerme Chikto Chingi Alu Makyo Ke Kudan Dagelu Makyo Ke Ten Yerme Chikto Chingi Olo Om Mahamuni Shakyamuni Svoha Om Munye Swaha. Om Muni Muni Mahamuni Shakyamuni Swaha. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhi Swaha. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Para Samgate Bodhi Swaha. Tayata Gate Gate Paragate Para Samgate Bodhi Swaha. Sashipu ki choshimeto Tramare Ravalingashin Ni de Gempadi Sange Shinto Mikte Ulwarki Drokunanam Dashingla Chopar Shoyidam Guru Ratna Mindrala Kam Niryatayami. Sangye Chedan Tsoge Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapsuchi Dage Jinso Gibe Sonam Ki Drola Pinchra Sangye Drupar Sho Sangye Chedan Tsoge Chonam La Chancho Pardo Dani Kyapsuchi Dage Jinso Gibe Sonam Ki Drola Pinchra Sangye Drupar Sho Sangye Chedan Tsoge Chonam La Jancho Pardo Dani Kyaps Dagi Jinso Gibe Sonam Ki Drola Pinchra Sangye Drupar Sho. Nel Buddha,
in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I obtain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings.
in the Buddha, Dharma, and Sangha, I take refuge until enlightenment. Through the practice of generosity and the other perfections, may I attain Buddhahood for the benefit of all sentient beings. Namo yal haye ke dan ludan nue jin ke drubundan da mi ke nam dan druwa kun ke dhanam chi tsampa tham che ke do da ki che ten to. Buongiorno.
Good morning. Before we take again the text, I want to share one of my thoughts with you. One of my thoughts with you.
Ci sono
There are, as we all know, some moments, some easy moments where the things are running well, where things more or less respect what we are waiting for from the reality. We have some pleasant experiences. Mostly we can say everything is okay. Everything is never completely okay, but mostly most of the things are working. So this also from a specific context, maybe in the work field or more in the relationship with one person or another, and so on and so forth, or with our health, and so on. What is happening in reality when the things are running well, everything is smoothly going, there is harmony, there is joy, everything is okay, fine. In that moment, we don't need so many rules. Because why? Because we can live it well. The problem starts when there are the other moments, which are the moments where we have some tempest, we are in the storm, or it's too dry, it's never raining, or it's too hot, or it's too cold. It's too cold, so the tension comes out. We find out again the distance between people, the conflicts, the opposition between one and the other, and so forth. In all that context, in relation with almost to everyone, each and every one, perhaps there are some contexts where we cannot see, but mostly in all the context, in the fields, in the work profession, in the family, there are some beautiful moments, some fine moments, and other quite more difficult. And in the difficult moments, it's when the tendency is that we are in front a crisis, a difficulty, a moment of crisis. We have a very short vision in the long term and very narrow, a narrow view. So we want to solve that problem, and we are only focused on that. There is a term in Brazilian that we use often, sometimes. There is it's a little bit strong as an image. Imagine there is a baby, a very little boy. They stick in the bath, and after the bath water is very dirty, and you want to throw away the water, the dirty water. And instead of take away the water, you throw together the baby with the dirty water. You throw away everything. This sometimes means that in the wall, that little difficult part is very small comparing to all the context, the wall. But instead of leaving that one to resolve that immediate problem, one is going to do worst, in other words. I don't know if it's clear. And also for this reason that our values, our principles, they are so important, because there are the guidelines that say to say, whatever is happening, I will not cross that line, which I fix for myself, because nothing can justify this. So I have to remind to myself, to remember several times, to protect myself in order not to do that particular action. So in a relationship with another person, I want to have a healthy relation, respectful, loving relationship. Whatever is going to happen, I will not raise my voice upon the other person. Whatever is happening, I don't want to wish the suffering to the other. Whatever is happening, I don't want to become aggressive or act in other wrong ways. Why it's so important to take the commitment? Because in the difficult moments, we have the whim to do it. We fall in the trap. Okay? When we were doing the mantra, reciting the mantra before, it comes to my mind that it's so beautiful what is given to us in this mantra, Gate Gate Paragate Parasamgate Bodhisoa. As I explained the other day, Tayyata means is it so? It is so. The base is the basis where we understood something. Paragate Parasangate Bodhisoa, it means going further, going much further beyond to the perfection. And so it be. When we are clear on our point of referment, our values, it's not certain that we could respect them always respect them. So when I understand whatever is happening, I understood, I don't go further than my limit. This is Tayyata. I understood. Now I have to remember to myself, to remind to myself many times, Gate, familiarize myself more and more, so it becomes a certainty that it's no more conceptual, it's going all beyond the concept. Parasangata is going further beyond, so it's coming a part of myself, it becomes something inherent to myself, so I don't have to think the perfection, is coming spontaneously. When at the center we start every year, we do the summer camp and the winter camp with the kids from 9 to 18 years old, the rules that we apply, they found some rules that could be a lot useful also for us, for everybody, for us adults. They are simple but very fundamental. And it's this idea of Tayyata, and this starting point. Whatever is happening, we have to be careful not to go beyond. And the rules are 3. Respect yourself, respect others, and respect the environment. Only that. So when we speak about respecting, if I respect you, I take acts of your existence and I give importance to you as much as I give importance to me. When I respect myself, I acknowledge my needs and I see them and I try to sustain them, to sustain myself, support myself. When I act in a way which is damaging me somehow, in a way I'm not respecting myself. Because we often we have our habits, we do some actions that we know they're not so good, but we do it anyway. This is a lack of respect for ourselves. But the lack of respect for the others is when we don't allow ourselves to see the other. We don't take in consideration the needs of the other. We don't take in consideration his happiness, his suffering. We don't want to see, independent on who is the other person. And the same thing we do with the environment. From my point of view, these 3 rules are really fundamental. And whatever it's happening, this not should be a reason to break these rules. So I just want to leave this point of reflection, and now we go back to the text. So respect yourself, respect the other, and respect the environment. Then in the daily life, when we are in different situations, we have to make different choices. Am I respecting myself in this choice? I'm respecting the other person involved. I'm respecting the environment. Yes, then it's a good choice. These things are respecting me, but I don't respect the other. So it's not so good already. So we find an alternative. I respect the other, but I don't respect myself. This is not also fine. We need to find another alternative. Not always we could succeed in being completely coherent. That's why we have Gate, Paragate, Parasangate, Bodhisoa, walk, go on beyond, further beyond. But we have a direction. We have some clear points to follow. And sometimes we try to complicate things with many rules and many other things, limitations, but there are some basics rules which allow us to protect a lot. So these three basis rules, they are very solid and omnicomprehensive. In other words, to have respect to yourself, to the other, and to the environment. Okay. Then now we pass to the text. Only that we have to remember this tayyata, we have to remember this rule, remind to ourselves many, many times. Otherwise, in some days which are blue or difficult or too much emotional, very easily we forgot them. Yes, I should do it, but the basic rules, they are not there for some times. So sometimes this is fundamental to remind to ourselves that those rules. For instance, we saw the other day the 10 negative actions where there is avoid to wish the suffering for the other. And it's very easy. Don't wish to the suffering to the other when there is no conflict between you and another. When you find yourself, when we feel that the other person is harming us, what is happening? That is much more easily we generate aversions, and from aversions it becomes hate and malice. We want to create suffering for the other. We have pleasure in that. And then here that we have to train ourselves, but we have to prepare ourselves. It does not matter what is going on, what they did, what they didn't do, what they've done, who they are. I will not cross that line of my rules. I had an experience that personally I'm very grateful that I had it, because in my life I never have in daily life so many difficulties with people who try to harm me. But sometimes in few situations it happened to me, and I'm very grateful to those people who harmed me, because they place myself in front of myself. I have to watch myself. And the fundamental thing for me is that, okay, if you want, you can fight with me to have a conflict, but still I have the freedom to choose if I want to get into conflict with you or not. You have the freedom. You have your freedom to have hatred, aversion, treat me bad, resentment. It's your choice. But how I react, the choice is mine. And this freedom I don't give to you. I don't give up. I don't give up. To see in that optic, in this perspective, as a very strong power for us. Okay, you try to harm me. You harmed me. This and that is not important to say what and when or what. In my late teens, adolescence, there was some quite heavy context and situations. Now slightly there, but it's not important. The dynamic that arises is that the other person is trying in a physical way, in a material plan, and intentionally and verbally to offend you and oppose to you. The first tendency is to oppose yourself to that. But then when you go in the attitude of contract act, we are damaging ourselves, we are harming, we enter in that dynamic, and at the end we are completely involved in that conflict. And what I said to myself is, I don't give you the possibility, this freedom. No. I choose, I have my autonomy, on how I want to behave, how I want to feel. I don't live to you. If you act in a certain way, and etc., it's your choice. I would prefer that you don't do for for your well-being and mine and the others. But how I react is my choice, and we have choice. And I have to remind to myself that, because often we have bad, unhealthy reactions, and then we victimize ourselves, giving the fault to the others. This is a classist, which is quite tragicomic. I'm upset because the other acts in a certain way. For instance, is verbally aggressive. So how you allow yourself, are you there to be aggressive verbally with me? You should not be, you should not do, it's not acceptable. So I condemn your verbal aggressivity. But because I condemn your verbal aggressivity, I allow myself to act with aggressiveness as well. Why I'm aggressive? Because you were aggressive. And then what is the difference between one and the other? It's a little bit like the children, when they start to beat up each other, then they say, he starts before, it's not me. It does not change so much. You are involved in the conflict. But sometimes there are things that are not so obvious, they are not easy, but it's important to have tagliata, to have the direction, which are our principles. As Buddha said, I am my best protector, I am my best enemy, my worst enemy. Me and myself, as the Stoics said in the beginning of the manual of Epicteto, the Greek philosopher, the phenomena are of two types. One depends on me and the other they don't depend on me. They don't depend. What it does not depend from me is what the other people are doing, what is happening around me, my physical state. They add also, from this I'm not completely agreeing, their point. What depends on me are my feelings, my actions, my thoughts, and my values. And then they go on saying that the suffering is originated by searching to have the control of what that does not depend from me. So how the other behaves, what they think, and the situation around me, and I don't have control in what instead depends on me. The happiness, you find happiness to have control in what depends on me, and don't try to control what it does not depend from me. It's simple. Not easy, but simple. Okay. Therefore, somehow we have to, in English we should say, to empower. We have to empower ourselves, give to ourselves the power by ourselves. If I act with aggressivity, with violence, if I feel hatred or I don't feel hatred, this is in my power. It's not in the power of in other hands of the others. That's why we ourselves, we have to direct with clarity in that direction, to direct our actions. I think it's really fundamental. Now we go to the text today. I would have liked to finish it, at least a quick reading. Verse 15. Should you ever, sorry, un altro testo. Should you ever feel doubted or dejected, uplift yourself with encouragement and praise. Meditate on the emptiness of both when encouraging objects and so forth. Briefly, this is a wonderful subject. We could spend days talking about these few lines, 2 verses 15 and 16. When we see something, we see the other person, we look to a situation. It could be a situation that we we feel attraction, we feel attracted to that attachment, desires to the situation, or a person in a situation towards we have aversion. Okay? In both cases, we are not able to see the other, to interact with the other, with that situation, to perceive anything independently from our filters, our own filters. So what is happening is that when I see you, I said, yes, you are there. But in reality, what I'm seeing is my version of yourself. Is it clear that? And what is happening through this, we project in the world our fears, our emotional wants, our emotions, our internal states, we project it outside an external reality. And with this, I'm not saying that it does not exist an external reality. It exists. And also, I don't want to say that it doesn't exist the positive, the negative, or the right and wrongs. For instance, the definitions of positive and negative that we say, we use this term virtuous or not virtuous, or not with virtuous. It's positive or virtuous, whatever in its interaction brings to a state of increased well-being and happiness. It is negative, what in its interaction brings something that is more suffering. Therefore, if I take this object, what is this? It's a singing bowl, Tibetan singing bowl. Someone call it the Tibetan, in Italian say la campana tibetana. I never saw, but why? Because I never saw them in Tibet. It would be more correct to say a Nepalese bell, because the tradition comes from Nepal. In the marketing at the beginning, when they were important, they call it Tibetan bell. In all Tibet, only I found one monastery when they use it. Where they use it? Only one. If we translate in English, we can say it's a singing bowl. A singing bowl. This is the English words. It could be a bowl to put the salad. Can I cook with that? With this? Yeah, it's a good sound. While I'm cooking, I have the sound too. How many things it can be, this object? How many things it can be? Innumerable, without going long to find many reasons why, and try to find all the different functions of this object. But what is happening? In few words, this object is a sum of parts to which we attribute the name bell. But this object could be a bowl, could be a cooking pot, but it could be a cake. If I believe that this is a cake, I'm really convinced that this is a cake. It is a cake. We do a simple example. In a dark place in the night, there is a rope on the floor. It could be that I pass by and I think, oh, it's a snake, and I get scared. Oh, is there a snake? I go to everybody and say, don't go out of the compa because there is a snake, a big snake. In my personal reality, is there a snake or not? No. Why? Because it cannot bite me. As much as I believe that is a snake, it's an erroneous perception, because the sum of the parts it does not have the capacity to have the function that I attribute to her. As much as I can believe that it's a chocolate cake, and as far as I see that the puppet in the shop window is a person, they does not have the characteristic to sustain the concept and the functions of that So we have these wrong views. A person who's acting with violence against another. In my narrative, for all my justification, I can see this as a positive act. It can happen. But that action, that contest, can sustain the characteristics to increase the well-being and the happiness of the people involved. The action, the violent action, increase the suffering from as much as the person who is acting with violence and as much as the one who is receiving the violence. It increases this vicious circle. It's not stopping it. So a violent action, even if I try to attribute the meaning that it is positive for this and that, it does not have the basis to sustain the characteristics and the functions of that. I don't know if it's clear, this. So we live in a subjective reality, but the fact that the reality is subjective, that does not mean that each value I attribute is necessarily good. So it exists a reality which is subjective, but this does not mean that any values we attribute is necessarily right. We have so many different values and characteristics that cannot sustain that functions. So each object I see appears to me if it exists as an object of attraction or aversion in an autonomous, independent way. So it is blue, it is ugly, is good, is evil, is mean, it's bad. We don't have the awareness to that I live it as beautiful because I attribute that meaning. So we have so many different possibilities, many right and many wrongs. We give an example, a practical example which I use many times. The Lama gave me this example and it was really touching me. It was very clear. I was driving, coming from Milan to Albagnano. So when one is passing there, can remember, there is a point after the casello, from the highway, there is, the road is going down and there is a left curve and another to the right. And Lama gave me an example which I make now a little bit more colorful. So you go in a shop, you see something that you like, for instance, let's say a jacket. I look to the jacket and say, wow, it's so beautiful. I like it. Because it's really beautiful. I want it. More than I want it, I really need it because at home I have the trousers and the t-shirts. Next week I will go to the marriage party. I have to be elegant because there will be that person which I like to show up as beautiful. So what I have to do, I already have the trousers, so I really need this jacket. And then I flirt with the jacket. I buy it, I don't buy it, it's too costly, how can I do, it's really that I need it, yes, no, how much is beautiful, I cannot find it anywhere else, it's not possible for me to come back, and we are flirting with the jacket. In the same time that we are flirting with the jacket, which is so beautiful, it's wonderful, and we want it so much, that person that we want to show up beautiful comes by chance in the same shop. Ah, you are here. How are you? Yeah, we are in front of the jacket. The other person look at the jacket and they say, oh, it's horrible. This jacket looks horrible. This color is not done well. The color is horrible. Why one should pay so much money for that jacket? I even would not talk with that person. It's unqualified. Then the person says, goodbye, I need to go. And we stay there, we and the jacket. The question is, the jacket is the same or has changed? It has changed. we want to buy it as well as before, is still an object of attraction, and our wish looks so beautiful. No, it's not someone for the shop attendant came to change it. In part it's the same, in part it's no more the same, because it's no more a desire object. This is to give an example that the object of desire, it depends on the value that we attribute to it. The object of aversion, for instance, the only difference between an object of aversion and from compassion is the attitude that we apply. A person who behaves in a way that, according to me, is wrong. For instance, a person that is using an extreme violence could be an object of aversion for us. How can you dare? How you doing this, you damage yourself, you harm the others, these things is completely wrong, you should not do like that, and it becomes for you an object of aversion. Can it sustain the characteristic and functions of an aversion object? Yes. So it's a correct perception. I see the person that is acting with extreme violence. I observe him or her, and I say, why you are so violent? Because from inside it's coming from a suffering point. Today I never saw a person which is happy, satisfied, and healthy that is unsatisfied. This has never happened. Then the person who is acting with violence is perpetuating a process of violence for himself and from the others, and to perpetuate more and more the violence. So it's a great cycle of suffering. So to see the person that is acting with violence and you say, I'm so sorry that you are in this cycle, in this vicious cycle of violence that is harming you and the others. I deeply wish that you can go out of this cycle, that you could be in peace with yourself and you can live peacefully with the others. It can sustain the characteristic and the function of this value or not. It's coherent. According to me, yes. So it becomes an object of compassion, the same person. The compassion is to desire that the other person is free from suffering. In this case, is the deeper compassion, because I desire that the other is free from the causes of suffering, that is his own ignorance, his own selfishness. If someone comes to me and asks me, what is the only difference from this person is for me an object of generosity or an object of miserliness. The way in which I relate myself, I can say, this is mine, I don't give to you, this is miserliness, and yeah, I can say, oh, it's so beautiful that I can share, it's generosity. One and the other are correct perception in the sense that the situation can sustain the characteristics and functions of the object of the compassion or hatred and so forth. I talk a lot with this, and there was a person who approached me and they say, but then she said that particular person which has this particularly strong aversions, and you could not even mention the name of the person, and she was upset. And then, so you want to say that the person is not as you see, as I see her or him? Yeah, I say no. You see it here, or she or her, as an object of anger, but which is the right or the wrong vision? From my point is what is more convenient for you. You want hatred or compassion, generosity or miserliness, because we try to find an objective reality when the reality is subjective. If I see a person which acts with strong violence and I say, no, I don't have to have aversion because the aversion is bad for me, I will not succeed. If I can see, yes, it's acting in a non-correct way, but it is continuing to perpetuate violence. So if I want that the situation get better, I have to include both points of views. points of view. What I can do to help to eliminate that vicious cycle of violence. I have to desire it, and this becomes that the person is not suffering, and this is compassion. At the end, it's more convenient for us from our internal being, because anger and hatred are harming us. The compassion is healthy for us. So meditate on the emptiness of both. That means if we find ourselves in front of an object of attraction or an object of aversion, remember to yourself that first of all, those objects does not exist as an object of attraction or an object of aversion in an objective way, but in a subjective way, and they are interdependent with the subject. And I don't want to go too much in details in that, but if we have a feeling of anger, hatred, resentment, jealousy, envy, attachment, just to mention some of those negative emotions, the object of those emotions, so the person towards we have envy, jealousy, or anger, so forth, they appear to ourselves if they even like they are an objective. They are like that, and I'm the victim. I don't feel anger because I don't control myself, but because the other person is like that. I'm not jealous in myself, but I'm jealous because the other person is behaving in that way. So when we can deconstruct the basis of these emotions, so we have to see that reality is not existing in a objective way, but subjective, not in an autonomous way, but in an interdependent way. There is no more the basis to sustain those emotions, because anger, jealousy, and all the other that we just listed, and many other more, they exist on the basis that our object is autonomous, independent, objective. Okay, so this is, as I said at the beginning, this is a subject that to go deeper we have to spend one day, to go to complete. But in few words, Atisha remembers to us that, in fact, especially when we find ourselves in front of an object of aversion, of attraction, we have to remember that what we are looking is just a mirror of ourselves, without taking away the fact that the external reality is existing. The external reality is existent, but it's not from it's not as we see it. The way in which I see that as a fundamental characteristic of the relation that I create with that object. So the reaction could be attachment, unlimited desire, unsatisfaction, and also from the side of aversion, anger, envy, and so forth, are harming ourselves. We have to go out from our victimhood state, mental state. So we have to see the object of aversion and attachment are empty of an inherent existing, but they depend on the perspective from where we look and the value that we attribute to them. And then we have to try to go out from a dual dynamic. I see as bad, but if I don't see it as bad, it means that it's good. No. And that there is also another aspect. When there are, from my point of view, one of the things that we have, it's a cognitive mistake. Beside the fact that it appears that we see the reality as objective, we saw just a little part close and we generalize the whole reality as what we see, on the basis of what we see. And one of the ways to have a more coherent vision, more healthy, is to allow ourselves to see all the colors of the picture, of the whole picture. It's like I look here, from my left I see the representation of Trija Rinpoche, and I say, what is in that image? Trijen Rinpoche. There are also some flowers. There is a Dorjen bell to the left, vase, bumpa on the right. And one say, what does you mean for vase? This is my interpretation. It's a curiosity. The vase means the essence of enlightenment. It's like a nectar that when you drink it, this take away completely your suffering. Also Buddha Maitreya is this vase, bumpa. In the object, in the Western culture, what should be this vase? The sacred Graal. I think there is a correspondence, but now we are not elucubrating on these points. But what is the essence in Buddhism? This nectar, essential nectar that takes away all the suffering. Love, compassion, and wisdom is the union of love and compassion and altruism with the coherent vision of reality. The union of this is the nectar that can extinguish any suffering. It's not sometimes some physical, it's just a representation. We close the brackets now. So I go back to the image. There is the representation of Trijen Rinpoche. Is it true? But there is also a yellow hat, Dorjen and bell, the vase, 2 ptala flowers. There is all the throne with the dragon head, the head of the Garuda, and the lions below, the text in the hands, the table in front with the Dharma wheel, and the inner offering, and the vase for the action, the Damaru. The lunse is these black flowers with fruits that represent the beggar bowl of Buddha. In this way, I say we don't generalize. So we say, what is in that image? Many, many things. Which color is made this picture? From many, many colors. She's made of. So we have to remember that we see something, there is so many nuances, different colors. So we have to remember that there is so much red color. It does not take away the green. The fact that there is a lot of green, it does not take away the blue. Like the sentence we repeated yesterday, for me it's very important. One thing is one thing, and the other thing is another thing. And the fact that one is there, it does not take away the fact that also the other is there. So we have to remember that then we are in front of various situations which are not to generalize, but to allow all the labels and to see the content. Okay, the contents. So a teacher reminds us here that we have to familiarize on the fact to live a reality which is subjective, which is in relation with others, interrelated with others. The fact that the reality is relational, it means that nothing exists in an autonomous way. Everything exists in relation to all the other, from the subatomical level to the macro levels that exist. Everything exists solely, uniquely in relation with the others. It's quite a joke, but it's important. Sometimes I hear people who complain, no, I don't trust that person. When it's with me, is in a way she behave, or with others, behave in another. Can you see, sometimes they come, you see Lama, in front of you they behave well. And then I say, oh, at least in front of me they behave well. No. And then they say, but it's not like that. It ever happens to you, and then they say, this person is not sincere because with me is behaving in a way, and with others different. But tell me if there is one person who cannot change when you are interacting with different people. We are relational, social beings. So in this moment, I'm as I am on the basis of all the interrelation that are between a person and the other. It's impossible to see and to say, I want to see the person independent of his own interactions. with others. It's not possible, even at a quantic level or subatomic level. So it's not possible to take anything and to observe it in an independent way of all its interactions. Therefore, the reality appears to ourselves in objective way, autonomous, independent, but in reality is subjective, interdependent, interrelated reality. So this is Atisha what is reminding us here. When we see this, this helps us to overcome the extremes of aversion and attractions. They say, when encountering objects of attachment or aversions, regard them as mere apparitions and illusory. So they appear in an objective way when in reality they are not. You should hear unpleasant words, consider them merely echoes when they talk bad about you. What the other person is thinking about me, it makes myself that as the other thing. Are you sure? Yes, me too. So, why we are upset when someone is talking bad about us? Okay. There was a passage of Shantideva was talking about this. Let's see if I remember. Now it's not coming in my mind, but in any case, what the other person is thinking about me or is saying about me, it does not change who I am. But when someone says something which I feel, I perceive as offensive, I defend myself, I become upset, I suffer, and probably I will counterattack. Why? Because we have our own identity so strongly based on how the other perceives us, how the other sees us, and we spend a great part of our lives trying to take care of that aspect on how the other people perceive us, in the way that we dress ourselves, in the way that we talk, on how we interact. So many choices that we do in our lives, they are done because that person or that person in that context, they see me in a certain way. And this is a sort of slaveness, in the sense that at the end we are completely consumed by these aspects that it's also impossible to satisfy it completely. So when someone is talking bad about me, in reality is not harming myself, but in reality is damaging my image. So in reality is harming the idealized image on how I would like that the other person see me, which is a big trick for us. It's an enormous trap. So when we hear something, there could be words that we don't like, we have to remember that these words are illusory. Why here they talk about an echo? Because it's something I say and then it coming back. But what I'm hearing is what the person has said or what I'm hearing. You tell me something, what I perceive is the same thing than the other want to say and intend to say. No. It happens to me twice. Even one time I was in the car with a person, a close person, a friend, and the person said something. Then I said to myself, no, he cannot have said that. I'm not answering. He repeats, and I say, oh, it's so offensive. How he can tell me this thing, certain things? I was nearly to answer, no, wait. And I do an internal work on myself, like put myself in pause, rewind, and replay. So I try to re-listen what the memory, to get back the memory of the son, what he said, and I realized that he was saying something very simple, well, innocent, but I understood wrong. Another time I was in America with a friend, Lama, Kuten Lama. Many of you have met him. We are going to the airport, and then he told me something, and then I said, no, he cannot have said that. Something out of context, super offensive for me. Then I said, no, I can't believe it. He repeated. And then I behave as someone who does not understand, and he repeat me twice for the third time. Then if I don't say something, it looks strange. So I was preparing myself to answer, to try in a soft way without creating conflict, but also without... but anyway, I need to remember that part of my mind was trying to answer, and another side of my mind was re-listen to what he said, and I realized that he mixed the Tibetan with the English, and the question was, do you want some milk in your tea? Completely innocent questions. Luckily, I did not answer immediately, because once that you answer and you create the conflict, then they say, but they didn't want to say that. Then it's not true. The other person will not believe, because anyway you said it. So we have to remember what arises to reach to our ears is not what the other person intends to do or to say. When someone is speaking in an offensive way, if we are armed, if we feel inside, it's because it's going to touch an inner wounds, emotional wounds, internal to us. So what I feel is not what you have told me, but is the echo of my own conflicts that it becomes manifest, because somehow they've been touched. Is it clear? Because to me it happens sometimes. Some people tell me some way, in an unoffensive way, that I was completely upset because touched something unsolved in myself, not solved. So we have to remember, when we feel bad and upset because some people talk to us, the reality is because that sound, the concept, comes inside us and makes resound something unresolved inside ourselves. It's not the other person that intentionally want to harm us with the words. And it happens to me also, some people who told me horrible things, and I say, okay, up to you if you believe that. It does not change nothing to myself. That you like, that you don't like, that is in a way, in a manner or in another, this does not change who I am, who I see the situation, and so forth and so on. So when encountering objects of attachment aversion, regard them as mere and illusory. Should you hear unpleasant words, consider them merely echoes. Should you suffer physical... This does mean that when we leave something in the present moment, something that's it's unpleasant or we suffer, from the point of view of the law of karma, without going in details now, anything that we experience as a sensation, it's a result of a karmic force generated in the past. In other words, what is happening in the present are the conditions, and the conditions are of two kinds: internal condition and external conditions. The internal conditions are the thoughts, my actions, my physical and mental states. These are the internal conditions. The external conditions are what the other is saying, what the other is doing, the context in where I find myself, and so forth. These two can't make me experience, they cannot make me experience something which by myself I have created the causes. You have to say there is a soil, a field, you have the soil, the water, the sun, there are the conditions, but if you don't plant the seed, you can pour the water as much, you don't have the condition, the cause. The conditions is the water and the sun. The causes that we created in the past is like the seeds that we planted in the past. So what we are living in the present is the result of an equation that they are unifying our own actions of the past, that they create a karmic force, like the seeds that you have planted, that are summing up with the conditions of the external in the present moment. This creates a result in this equation which manifests in a psychophysical reality that we experience through our sensations, feelings. So if there is no cause, there could be no result. If there is a cause and there are not the conditions, also there could not be a result. So if someone is coming and slap me on my face, I feel bad. I feel harmed. Someone can come, yes, Lama, it's not the fault of the others, it's your karma. Ni. In the sense, not yes, not no. It's true that what I experience is the result of my choices made in the past that brought me in that contest, and it's a part of my responsibility in that. And there is a part of the karmic force. We create so many actions in the past, I don't know now, that are manifesting now in the present, that you slap on my face. But this does not take away your responsibility of your action, which is a violent action against me, which is creating for you other causes for violence. The fact that I'm responsible for my past experience does not take away the responsibility of the other in his own actions. I don't know if it's clear, this dynamic. And then here, responsible is not the point to find the fault on one or the other. Who is to condemn? I chooses to enter in that point and to say that things, and it was a trigger that start up the hatred of the person that beat me up. If you didn't say that things, I will not beat you up. In part is it true, but it does not take away your responsibility to beat me, and this is not taking away the fact that it is a negative and violent act. And then it's not taking away also the fact that if I didn't come in Rome, this was not happening. So the reality is very complex. It's not all black and white, this and that, this or that. I don't know if it's clear. So when we live in our reality, this unpleasant moments of suffering, we have to remember what we are living is not the fault of another, but is the result of a complex equation in which we have a great part, a great deal of responsibility. So we are not giving the fault to the other, we are not victimizing ourselves, we don't go against the other. We try to understand how to avoid that this situation and context will repeat itself. Okay. Keep entirely to solitude far beyond the town, and like the carcass of the beast, hide yourself away, remaining free of all attachment. What does it mean, this? Before was talking about violence. When a person finds oneself it's ready to observe oneself, to look yourself in your eyes, to go to heal your deepest ones, to face your shadow side, and to start a process to face your own reality. To be alone is very important. Because when we are with many, many other people in different situations, one of the things that we are doing is we become so busy to solve so many problems in order not to face our difficulties. I remember these great meditators. One lady, she was for many, many years alone, living alone, and someone asked, but to go in a cave on the mountains is not a selfishness act, it's a way to escape to the problem of the world. And she answered, in reality, it's a courage act. It's an action of courage, because when you are alone, after a few days, one day you are nervous, another day you are jealous. They are coming, all these emotions, and you don't have anybody on whom project those emotions. And so you have only to do it, to deal with yourself. It's not obvious, it's not easy, but it requires a certain preparation. It requires that the fact that one start already a preparation and a path to follow. So my advice for me is not to abandon completely the family. You go in the mountain, isolated without telephone, because as a great meditator, Milarepa, to go in a cave, to stay there meditating without a basis of preparation is only harming yourself. It's only a great deal of effort for nothing. When you're ready to face yourself, then you have to create the conditions to do it and don't escape from the task. A few days ago we talked about the importance of silence, because sometimes even ourselves we make noise in order not to listen of what is inside ourselves. We make noise in the sense that we always bombard ourselves with sensorily stimuli, and when they stops, then it comes out our wounds, the angers, the regret. So we try to create this noise in order to create a fake silence, because we don't want to listen the noise which is inside ourselves, what is not solved in ourselves. So what I think is important for ourselves is not to escape, to go on top of a mountain in a cave, but to allow ourselves to be in silence, to allow ourselves to see ourselves, to be a bit alone. That does not mean to feel lonely. Means finds the moments where you are able to live alone with yourself, and this allows you to live better with the others. Will allow the key is not escape in the world, but to feel well in the world. So sometimes we need some few moments of reflection, some space. I'm alone, I do a little walk, I do a little bit of meditation, and not only stay alone does not mean necessarily, for instance, you are not with other people, but you don't feel alone because you have the cellular phone. Anyway, you try not to be alone with yourself, to avoid the contact with yourself. And sometimes it's important for us to allow ourselves to listen to ourselves, to see ourselves, to become able to direct our actions. The same fact that we become aware of what we feel in this moment of listening has a great value. So from time to time, reduce the objects of distractions and stay alone with yourself is only healthy. And then he's going on saying, be forever firm in your commitment. Be free from attachment in the last line of 17, verse 17. Remaining at your... In Italy, this word of avidity and desire is not present, but they always use attachment. What does it mean? The less we are attached to things, and more inner freedom we have. The attachment is when we attach ourselves to something and we say, I don't want to give up, I project my happiness in that. If there is not that, I cannot be happy. I can't be happy. So we use those analogy that analogy to make a contract for happiness, for our happiness. The more we have attachments, the more contract notes we put. If for me to be happy, it should be sunny, the temperature 25 degrees, sometimes up to 30. If I am free, how in order for me to be free, this person should behave in that way, the other should be in that other way, and we write down all the rules to be happy. The more options we have, and the less probability to sign the contract that we have. And when it happens, it's very short-lasting. The less conditions we put, it's more easy to sign this contract for our own happiness. So we have to see where we project our happiness, and that we grasp to them strongly, and we don't want to give them up. These are the attachments. Normally, they are attachment to material things, goods, or relationships with others, peace, with the presence of other people in our lives that we want, or the recognition of our image. And the strongest happiness is the attachment to how, according to us, the reality should be. There is nothing wrong in the people which are beside us. But the attitude more healthy for me is where something that we like so much is ending, we say, oh, but it was so beautiful that happens. It happens. That was there. For instance, I drink the water, I like it so much, sooner or later it will finish. It's so beautiful that there was the water. So are you happy that it finished? No. That it finished? No. But the fact that I'm not happy that it finished does not take away the fact that I'm happy because it was there. So again, it's this dual vision. If you are not sad, means you are happy that it finished. No, I'm aware that in its nature, it's natural that it ends sooner or later, and I'm happy in the way that this experience transform myself. For instance, the people to which we relate are not permanent. The people transform themselves constantly, and sooner or later they die. I have many people very important in my lives that left the body, my masters mainly. The fact that you ask me, are you happy that Lama Ganchen was dead? No, of course. You would like that was physically with you still, of course, without any doubt. But what is the feeling when you think to him? A deep gratitude and joy to have had him in my life, and what we lived together transformed myself and continues to transform myself nowadays. So this gratitude is constant because what you lived that time is not finished there. It continues to transform yourself. So the fact that we say, I drink the water, is not only the moment that I drink it, is after the physical strength that I have, the well-being, physical being that I have. It's not finished there. So there is the possibility to say, I enjoy all the beautiful things with the awareness that of their impermanent nature. And then when they change, they transform, they finish, thank you that you were there. It's so beautiful, because when we become upset that things, that object of attachment is no more there, we are so attached, we are not more able to connect to the beautiful part, because we are connected to the pain, the suffering. And if you connect to that, it's like to betreat yourself, to lie to yourself. A person is dying, is dead. We can make a party to celebrate the beautiful things that we share together. And some people could say, but this is not convenient. It's like you don't keep faith to the relation with the person, you are not sad. No, I accept the sadness and so also the gratitude and the joy, and I choose which one I want to nourish. The attachment, to attach ourselves, to grasp strongly to something, it's so negative for us. It's really harming ourselves. But so, verse 12, attachment prevents the attainment of happy states because the nature of things is changing, transform everything that starts as an end. So there's nothing wrong with that. Also, there is no solution. So the problem is that we are not able to live it in harmony. So not attachment, the attachment is strongly connected to the awareness of the acceptation of the impermanence of all things. So we try to remember, this is the not attachment, and one of the key for that is to thank, to rejoice and celebrate the beautiful things once they happen. We are happy with another person, we thank for that, we are thankful every day. We remember the beauty of the moments that we share together, and this will stay in future as a point of referment. And the other aspect that comes together is be without attachment is not an act of sacrifice. We are not. This means it's an act of awareness. Where is there? So beautiful. When it's not there, as well as well. If I eat a very good food, I'm very happy. Otherwise, it's okay as well. It's not a problem, because our idea of us, of this non-attachment, is something like so you have to avoid certain things, to restrain yourself. It's not that. I remember Lama Rinpoche, in many occasions, he was enjoying all the situations. There are certain things that he likes, and he was living that with the maximum of pleasure, of enjoyment, and they were not there. He was the same person. Nothing was changing. If they were there, he enjoys. If they're not there, he enjoys as well. So there is not this sense of sacrifice, or you feel the guilty when you are enjoying also. These are two opposites that we should avoid. Verse 18. Be forever firm in your commitment. Should laziness or lethargy take hold, be sure to enumerate your faults. So I would say to list its mistakes, not your mistakes, and recall the essence of yogic discipline. What does it mean, this? Commitments. For instance, respect yourself, respect the others, and respect the environment. I take this commitment. I don't want to respect the environment. Yes, I know that I have to do the differentiate rubbish, to differentiate, to wash the plastic things, to separate them from the paper, for instance. When the laziness arises, when we say the laziness is the union of two things, the certainty of the importance of the thing, and united with the lack of will to do it. I don't want to do it. I know it's important to respect the environment, but I don't feel like now. It costs more. You have to put effort. I don't want to have fatigue. Even if I know that is the right thing to do, I become lazy. So should laziness or lethargy take hold, be sure to enumerate that her or its faults from the laziness. So Tensedak means me, la 2. Nien, negativity, Chan, list. So you have to list the negativity of that, not of yourself. In this translation, they say, be sure to enumerate your faults. Instead, it is enumerate to yourself the negativities and faults of what? Of not doing what you are lazy for. So I find myself in front of the, for instance, in this period of time, I find myself often in front of paper articles, journalistic articles, about the problematic of the microplastics, which is not a small issue. One of these articles that recently they make a lot of research, scientific research on how this impacts our health. And for instance, they found that they did a biopsy of many patients, and the biopsy of the brain of the people who has a high level of dementia. There was a high quantity of plastic, about 1 soup spoonful of plastic in the brains of people with dementia, because this plastic is everywhere. And then in several ways we accumulate this plastic that we consume, and this creates a lot of problems for the environment. So it doesn't mean I have to respect myself and my health. So if I have to have the water which I have to take in the bottle, what is more convenient? The bottle, the glass bottle. If I can have the bottle of copper thermos take the water from the fountain, is even better. This water outside of the temple, 4 times I analyze it, and they have it has any filter, and they say it's perfect. When I did the analysis and repeated for 4 times, it's an excellent water I drink anyway. There is no filter, so we have to say it's not potable. So, but then it's coming the laziness. But it costs more. I have to carry the big bottle with me, or the glass is more heavy. I don't have to bring the heavy things. I go to the bar. At the bar, I take 1 plastic bottle. I know it's not good for the environment. So there is a laziness in respect myself and in respecting the environment. So in this case, I have to enumerate the error, the faults of these behaviors. I'm going to increase the microplastic in the environment, the pollution, and the illness of the people. So I say, no, okay, I take the glass bottles instead of the plastic one. I bring my own bottle, my own thermos. So we have to be stable in the starting points with these points that we say, the respect myself, I respect the others, I respect the environment. When the laziness arises, and therefore we don't have the wish to do, the will to do, and then we have to list our mistakes and the defects of not acting like that in the correct way in order to overcome our own laziness. To me happens, I want to say, for instance, I want to have a certain relationship with a person. This is the basis. So first of all, I make a commitment. Then what's happened? At a certain point, in a certain situation, comes a little tension. You don't want to take care. You have to remember, but that this will bring more conflicts and so forth. Then I go back to my commitment. So when we see that there is laziness to keep a certain commitment, we have to remember to ourselves the defects of not keeping the commitment, and at the same time the benefits to maintain. And then recall the essence of your yogic discipline. I interpret it in this way, in this moment, the discipline, yogic discipline, yogic refers to act in an excellent way. The discipline is our capacity to maintain what is good for us and to keep out what is bad for us. So I take a commitment, and there are certain behaviors to hold that commitment, to keep the commitment. So remember to yourself which are the commitments that you took, which are your right behaviors. Go back to your ethic code to go back to your original commitments and remember the essence why I took this commitment, which is the reasons why I took these commitments, which are the benefits in keeping those commitments. So when it's coming laziness and you don't want to behave in a correct way when you know is right, we have to remember the negative sides of not keeping that behavior and the positive sides in keeping that correct behavior. As someone could say, yes, Lama, but it's very tiring. Yes, definitely. But at the end of what is more consuming our energy, to keep the awareness, to keep ourselves in the right correct direction with the correct behavior, or to let yourself driven by the bad feelings and keep a bad commitments. At the end, what keeps more energy? To have an unhealthy behavior. Naturally, we consume energy. I understood this clearly in myself for the first time when I was with my mother. Once when my mother did the surgery, we find ourselves in China. She chose to do this surgery, and we stayed there for 1 month, about 1 month. Then after the biopsy, there was 1 week in the middle waiting for the result of the test. It was the first time in 20 years where I found myself that it was almost that I didn't have to do something, and I didn't impose myself to do anything. And the days passing by like in an empty way. And I realized of something peculiar, that when you start the day that you are full of things to do, you reach at the end of the day, which you are tired. And when we start in the morning that you don't have nothing to do, at the end of the day, you're tired as much as. So it's not true that I'm tired because I do many things. I get tired because I wake up and naturally the body is consuming its own energy. And then there is the next cycle of sleeping, resting, and so forth. But it's not, I don't do nothing like the petrol in the car. I don't use it, so it's not consuming. No, it's consuming as well. So what's happened, say, but this is tiring, but the life is tiring. But with that, I get tired. Yeah, but anyway, you get tired. So we try to consume our energy with what is nourishing ourselves, and it helps to live better with ourselves and with others. And that's why we always have to redirect ourselves. Next advice. I will go a little bit quicker. Verse 19. Should you chance upon another, speak calmly and sincerely, taking care not to frown or grimace, and always maintaining a cheerful smile. When we meet other people, we say if you meet someone, because these advices we have to remember. It was a teacher given to Don Chompa. They really lived most of the time alone. So if sometimes you see something, in our case it's the opposite. It's the opposite. We can say if you are alone. In this case, they say if you meet someone, we have to try to speak in a respectful way, calmly and sincerely, lovely. Remembering to us that when we talk, we have two functions often: elaborate our emotions and thoughts, verbalizing, and to transmit something to the other. It's important to have clear which one we are doing, which one of the two. Because sometimes we just need to talk because we have to elaborate some thoughts and emotions, and we don't care if the other give us an answer or understands. in these cases, we have to have this clarity to say sometimes we can say, I need to talk. You don't even need to answer to me, but I need to express my feelings, my thoughts. And sometimes we talk because we want to transmit to others a concept. We want the other understand something. In this case, we start from the principle to see the other and to adapt ourselves to the other. I have to speak your own language if I wanted you understand me. In the first case, it's like when Lama came in the West, the first year he was in Greece. He told me that many people stays there and they stay with him to talk for hours. They talk, he was not understanding nothing in English. Then he was present with them and they always answer, no problem. No problem. You really, Rinpoche? Yes, no problem. And then they go away happy. But weeks after, they come back and they say, Rinpoche, thank you so much. Everything went well. You were right. And he said, I understood often what people need, really. There was a person that don't judge them, was listening with attention and love, and was there to listen to them. And this is something very beautiful if you can offer. But when I have to tell you something that I need an answering, I need that you understand what I want to say. So I need to speak your own language. I have to wait the right moment. It's not in a way, it's not what I want to say, but it's what I want you to understand. So it's the speaker who need to take care of that. So when we meet with the others, it's important to understand which is the function of that conversation. And try to do it in a peaceful way, respectful way, because the word has a great power to condition at our mind and to influence the others. So speak calmly and sincerely, taking care not to frown and grimace. So try to be always cheerful and always maintain a cheerful mind. It does not cost nothing. When we meet another person, we allow ourselves to watch in their eyes and smile. It's a gift that we go to give to the other and we receive from ourselves. So I have many moments when I was driving. At a certain point, I'm driving, I stop because there is someone who needs to cross the road, some pedestrian. When you stop, the other person rightly is looking, it's very fine if you stop really. So you cross the eyes of the other and you smile and the person smiles you back, and this is beautiful. And so in many other similar moments, we have to allow ourselves to see the other, to smile to the other, allow ourselves to manifest love, affection, and this is coming back to us. So we have to be careful not to have a frowning face, sad face. We have to also try to emanate also light in our expression from our eyes, from our body, with intention, because when we see the other person does not know really what is going on inside yourself, but our expression is the way, the means to communicate with the other. So one time I was talking with a person who told me something that changed my mind forever. He said, for me it's important what you feel, but it's also important how you manifest it, what you manifest. Example, you love me, but show it to me. But I do it in my way, but if I have to know, it's important that you show also to myself how, if you really love me. So we have to be careful towards the other, in respect to the others. The more we manifest kindness, loving kindness, the more we can smile with the eyes, smile with the mouth. It's not something forced that you look at the other and you put on a fake smile. I saw this. Someone you say, someone is waiting to smile, and then they feel bad when they don't get the fake smile back. So it's a sincere way, must be a sincere way to manifest what we feel for the others. This is in general. It's important for us. To protect the minds of others, be sure to avoid all querulousness. 20. Generally, never when encounter others, do not miserly but delight in giving, and forsake entirely feeling envy. So when we are in company with others, we should have been always joyous, and we have to have the happiness, the joy to share the time, the space, the material resources, the knowledge, to listen, offer, and share what is with the other. This is also healthy for ourselves. The more we close up ourselves, the more we feel bad. So the more we can open ourselves, the more we can share with the people it comes to meet in our lives, the better is for ourselves. So to share does not mean necessarily give away all we have. It's coming to my mind a little girl that nowadays she will be 4 years old. When she was 3 years ago, more or less, she went on holidays with her parents, and then she saw an old lady with another baby who were asking money, questing for money. And then she went to the father and said, this could be my mother or my sister. Can you give something? And the father gave some money. A few meters forward, there was another. Please, also to them. Other mentors, other people, please give also to them. And then someone else. Now it's enough. Otherwise, you cannot buy anything more for myself. So what I'm saying is that in the act of sharing, it does not mean that you have to sacrifice all what you have and take away all what you have and give it away to the others. But this meaning become aware of the presence of the other. Sometimes it's just a sight or the attitude more than physical or material thing. Of course, the material is also important in accord with our possibilities, which are limited from many factors. For instance, from material factors, could be limited by mental factors. What we think that are our own limits, our attachments, our desires that we want to decide. So when we are sharing with others, there are many aspects that we put in play, and it's very beautiful to see this one. As San Francesco was saying, and the simple prayer is giving that you receive. And Buddha Shakyamuni described that between the qualities to develop and to perfect, the first one after love is generosity. Because generosity is the one who gave the basis, the energetic basis and karmic basis to develop all the others qualities. So to share, to offer is fundamental. There is also a verse that is in the Guru Puja text, when we do the offering of the tsog, this offering of food, they say, Emao Sokit. I do a quick translation, and they say, Emao is an expression of joy. Oh, what a joy. Soki Korlo Che, those big circle of sharing, this big wheel, Soki Korlo, means Sog means accumulation, and Korlo, it's a circle. So this union of sharing, Ema also Korlo Che, what a joy in this great circle of generosity. This great circle of sharing, this is the road where all the Buddhas of the 3 times cross that road. So that means to become a Buddha, you have to pass through this charity. And this the root of all the realization, is the source. Is the source of all realizations. Understanding this, Pao Che, or you great hero or great heroine, you who has great courage, abandoning each and every wrong projections, that in this case is selfishness, which I feel better if I take care of myself and I lose something if I donate to the other. I do in a way that is a great circle of sharing will last forever. So the path through whom all the realized being follow to reach to that state, the source of the states of the realization are peace, joy, is the inner well-being, absolute one, where is starting from the sharing. So have the courage to walk against the condition of the selfishness, of the tendency of selfishness, and allow yourself to share. And this is as an enormous power. Of course, one step after the other, one little step after the others. So abandon completely the envy. Envy is one of the most stupid feelings that we can have, because I already feel bad because I don't have that, and now I'm even worse because you have it. Please explain to myself this attitude. For instance, I like to eat the mozzarella. Already I can't eat it. Then I have to feel bad because you can eat it. It's like if you make something wrong to me. I have a lactose intolerance, not you, so it's not your fault. So it's something really twisted. Abandon any envy. To protect the minds of others, be sure to avoid all quarrels. To protect that the other enters in conflictual states and aggressivity and violence, try not to put the finger in the wound. There are some moments where the wound is touching, even if unintentionally, so some situations must be faced, but there is also the habit when someone is always putting the finger in the weak point of the other, in a sense, I told you, it's not like that. You see, I was right. Please give up this behavior, because we want to protect our relationships and also the mind of the others and of ourselves. So to protect the minds of his own reactions, wrong reactions, try to be sure to avoid all quarrels. Try to avoid any conflict. Try to be patient and to be tolerant. There is not this word in Tibetan, tolerant. In reality, it's only written, be always patient. Only the word patient in Tibetan here has a more extended context. That means do not react with mental, physical, mental or verbal reaction in front of the difficult situation you find. In this case, you think different for me is not a good reason to be aggressive towards you. You act in something that I'm not agreeing, in a way that in a manner that I don't agree, is not a good point to react. That if I have to stop that negative actions, sometimes you have to use it, that opposition power. We open a word, for instance, I'm walking on the road and I see a man that is beating, to use in violence, to abuse, sexual abuse one woman. I go there and I say, this is something you cannot do. But then I cannot use the violence. So I say, sorry. In certain cases, it can work. One time, a woman, many years ago, before that Albagnano was created, Teresa Turicchia, our friend, one lady, was living in Compella Magancio. She was very peculiar. And often one of her characteristics, she was not sleeping at night, but she was wandering around. So in Via Marco Polo, in the road, where is the center, there is in the courtyard a high window. She was hearing some noises, and there were the thieves that tried to force them. And then she said, sorry, we open from 10 to 1 here at the center. And then they say, she's crazy, completely crazy, and they go away, they went away. So in a case, it can also happen. It could be positive, but if someone is acting aggressively towards another person, I can go there and say, please, it's better that you don't do like that, this is not good for you, and there is no way of listening, no openness to listen. Then in that point, I have to reach to the point that I myself have to use the violence to stop that person of abusing the person. But when I stop the other and I use my strength to stop it, not to damage him, it's not that I'm being and I continue to beat him up or kick him up. I stop him to avoid that he behaves in a violent way, to complete these violent actions between himself and the other. And ideally, I have to see how can I help the girl, the woman, and then how I can help him, because both of them, they need help. The tendency is to, I help the girl and I have to punish the man. But what I want, it's a society where there is harmony, where there is peace. And in order to have that harmony and peace, I have to take care of the unhealthy dynamic and all the wounds of the people in their inside. So this can be possible. And when someone is acting in this bad way, we have to take care of him, because this deep violence, it's a manifestation of this deep suffering that, of course, manifests in the most wrong way. But in any case, it must be cured, taken care. So when we say here to avoid the querulous discussions, be always patient. And so it means I respect the others, but in extreme situations, the strength could be necessary to be applied, but never and never you have to use it with the intention to create violence in the violence to other. Never the bad action, the violent action of a person justifies your own violence. What I say, when there is an act of violence, in certain cases with the correct attitude, it's possible to use the strength to stop that violence and not to harm the other who is violent. In our daily lives, fortunately, we don't find ourselves often in those situations, these kind of situations. So when we are with the others, we try to speak kindly, in a sincere way, respectful way, and we try to avoid any conflicts, any tensions, not hiding ourselves behind the finger, but pretending that nothing is going on, but also not pointing the finger in the wounds, and don't try to find the conflict. We are not in search of the conflict, and this does not mean that you are passive. You must be passive, because if you see something that behavior or something that I don't like, there are so many ways, healthy ways to interact, to positive influence the other without entering conflict and in fights or quarrels. Because when we go into the conflict, at a certain point the object of fighting is disappearing, and what is remain, there are the two people, one against the other. I saw so many situations like tragicomic. Two people start to fight. For instance, this ball must be on the table. No, it's not to be here. It's not. It must be. Then we take away. No, it must be here. Because at a certain point, it's not more the point if the ball should be on the table, but should not be what the other wants. So at a certain point, the object is not the real point is to have the right. Who is right, who is wrong. And this is create a lot of damage, of course. Then 22.
Shen la nyeba pangcha shin kube tsulgi nebar cha shen la damga jebe tse nyingche pensem dembar chas chola kurwa mide shin kan la möte dumba dans chocho namchu gone ni nyinsen chebar bebar chas.
So we go a little bit faster. Do not flatter others or be fickle or disloyal. So do not adulate the other, don't manifest a particular attraction when it's not sincere. So be sincere with other people. Don't be moody, so changeable. In Tibetan is the word today I'm your friend, tomorrow I'm not your friend, today you likes me, tomorrow I don't like you. I give you my friendship and it's forever. It's not that we have to search for something external in a shallow way, superficial way, but with sincerity. Lama Rinpoche demonstrated this many times in his life when he gave his friendship to the others, and other people treat him very bad also in extreme ways. What he always done, and he manifested in any way, is to say, I choose to give you your friendship. If you want to give it to me, it's your problem, not mine. I stay where I was. And other people came back like nothing happened. He never said, you remember the time that you turned back your shoulders to me? No. So try not to be there to adulate someone, to think something, and not even to have superficial relationship, shallow, to have a sincere, deep friendship that does not depend on the behavior of the others, but it depends on what we offer to the other. But remain forever steadfast and reliable. Be stable in your principle and your ideals. Avoid disparaging people in any way and treat everyone with respect. No comment. When giving advice or instructions, do so with compassion and goodwill. When we are in the position that we have to give something to the other, to give an advice to the other, we have to give the priority to the others, and not to ourselves. Sometimes we give the advice to the other thinking on in which way this advice can come back to us. For instance, now we don't go further in that. Is it clear? Be sure never to denigrate the teachings. Set your signs on what inspires you most. It's very clear. You have to respect each tradition, and you have to follow which one with determination, the one that you prefer. And through the 10 forms of Dharma practice, exert yourself in sessions by day and night. We have the 10 negative actions, and the opposite, they are the 10 positive actions. So don't steal, so respect what is the possession of the others. Don't kill is to respect life. Don't have a sexual misconduct, to have a correct sexual conduct. Don't lie, be sincere. don't use harsh words, use sweet words, don't create words to divide people, but create words to unify, and don't have idle speech, but use meaningful words, to have love, compassion for the others and not hatred. Don't desire what is not for you and be satisfied, and not have wrong visions, and to have a correct vision of reality. So day and night exert yourself in section and out of sections to grow interiorly inside, and not only understood and then basta, and you don't transform yourself in the process.
Norgi dampa didani mise pai nordinte mimain la jömi chas, mambu nanto ngala ta chikpuduna semla ta. Velocemente.
So quickly, from verse 24, in this part, or you understand immediately, or will take a long time to explain, so we go further. Whatever virtues you amass in the past, present and future, dedicate them all towards great unsurpassable awakening. We dedicate all the positive karmic force that we generate to the enlightenment of ourselves and the others. Continually make prayers of aspiration, combining them with the 7 branches. So offer to yourself the positive energy you generate. Continually make prayers of aspirations combined with the 7 branches. These aspirational prayers, the word in Tibetan is Lama. It's not prayer. Prayer is like a request. I pray you. Monla means is the path of aspiration. It's quite different. It's like I said, may all beings have happiness and its causes. I'm not asking anything. I'm aspiring that all beings could reach to the happiness and its causes. So constantly, Atisha says, constantly you have to create this positive aspiration, which is a way to cultivate your positive wish of what you want or possible. So repeat these positive aspirations, because the first thing so that something can happen, we have to desire that there will be peace, love, gratitude, respect. So generates all these virtuous aspirations and practicate in the 7 branches, which are not going into details. Practicing in this way, whatever I've been saying until now, you will complete the 2-fold accumulations of merit and wisdom. You will generate a positive karmic force and a correct view of reality or wisdom. In this way, you eliminate the 2 forms of obscuration, mental poison, ignorance, and ignorance imprint. By making meaningful this human existence, in time you will gain unsurpassable awakening. If you follow in this way and you apply the jewel, you attain the awakening. The jewel of faith, the jewel of discipline, the jewel of giving, the jewel of learning, the jewel of dignity, the jewel of self-control, the jewel of wisdom. These are the 7 riches. These are these most sacred forms of wealth. So we have to cultivate the qualities and the inner richness, not the external richness. These 7 faiths are inexhaustible, cannot be exhausted. The next one is referring not to the 7 gems, but to all the teachings that Atisha shared, and in several commentaries, it's not well interpreted, because we say, do not speak of this to non-human beings. Whatever we say, don't reveal it to the non-human. And here is interpreted, we don't have to say these things to the spirits. When you go to read the original text, when there is the conversation between Atisha and Tompa, they are talking not about spirits. They say it's not useful to say to people who are not ready to apply it. So they say, don't say it to who is not. Me is me, mying that is not. Don't say to those who are not, but you can literally, you can also read, don't tell it to people, to us, people who is not people, which is a synonymous of spirit. Me, mying is spirit in another acception. So the meaning here is not, you are not to say, don't say to human beings, what you have listened is not valuable to tell, to transmit to people. We are not ready to put it in practice, because the teacher will say, who can destroy the teachings of Dharma? There are those who took the name, who will take the name like the holder of the lineage, but then they are not apply the principle into practice. So share this only with those who are really ready to apply that in a real, sincere way. It's not a formality, a mere transmission, only empty words. And the final conclusion, which is the summary of all, in the company of others, mantu with menace, nallata, guard, be aware of your speech. Whenever you are alone, guard your mind, observe your mind, pay attention to your thoughts. Because when we are with others, we observe what we say, and when we are alone, we have to observe what we are thinking. And this is an advice that summarizes so many things that one of the main teachers of the Dalai Lama, Kyabjeni Rinpoche, when he was really to pass away, to leave the body, and the Dalai Lama went to visit, the last sentence of advice was this sentence of Atishi. In the company of others, guard your speech. Whenever you are alone, guard your mind. And this is one of the sentences more famous of Atisha, and it's a practical advice. Even if you forget everything before, at least we hold this advice, this last advice. In this way, we just complete a quick reading through the text of Atisha. I invite you to read it again and take it as guidelines for your life, because the life is passing by quickly. Many things are happening, and so it's very important for us to have our clear direction that, as we say before, which is respect yourself, respect others, respect the environment, cultivate love, gratitude, respect, many things that are basics, but we have to cultivate them, otherwise we can lose it on the way with forgetfulness. Then we do our dedications, and we have a short meeting together, and today we have to celebrate and to remember the 80 years of the atomic bomb of Hiroshima and Nagasaki. And then we have in our center this the kaki tree, which came directly from Japan, because when was in Hiroshima and Nagasaki, everything was destroyed, and when it was resilient, solar resilient there, create this system. Because we have this is the second generation of that tree. They changed the law, and then they changed the law in Japan, so today was not possible to plant them again. So today we have many people who are doing 400 kilometers in bicycle, passing in all these kaki trees where they are planted all over in Italy, and the last point of arrival, it will be our center, our kaki tree in Albagnano. So we will have a series of ceremony for that, to receive them too. And then later on, I would like to create a special moment dedicated to world peace, without entering in a long way in that, but it's a moment where we can allow ourselves to not enter in a indifferent state, to dedicate our prayers to world peace is not a moment to pronounce any statement, but to pronounce a statement with ourselves, to enter in contact with the non-indifference state in ourselves. So we want to dedicate to the peace in Palestine, in Israel, in Gaza. And so we will do a prayer moment together. We will light some candles, something very simple that came together by chance with the Nagasaki and the kaki tree. So that's all. We do our dedications. Then tomorrow I have to leave already to travel. There are so many intense days. So today, this afternoon, I will as soon as we finish, I have to go because my appointment was at 1 o'clock and it's already almost 1:30. So I give priority to finish the text, the transmission of text, and later on we will have a quick greetings to each and one of you, with which one of you.
Drove munsel takto ne gyurchi chancho semcho rinpoche ma che panama che gyurchi che pa nyambra me pa yang conne conto pelwar sho possa la preziosamente pace.
May the precious body and peaceful mind which has not yet born rise and grow. Which one has already grown? Never be, but will increase forevermore. Never degenerate and will increase evermore. At dawn or dusk, at night or midday, may the three Jews grant us their blessings. May they help us to achieve all realizations and sprinkle the path of our lives with various signs of auspiciousness. Tashidele, grazie a tutti, buon appetito. Thank you all. We see you in the afternoon.